So the Rogue Invitational is taking place in about 2 weeks. It's from the 31st of October to the 2nd of November, with the Strongman taking place on the 1st and the 2nd, which is the Saturday and the Sunday. And today I'm going to go through my predictions. I'm going to talk through each event and give my top 3 for every event, and then I'll give my overall top 3 at the end. And before that, I'm just going to go through the athletes. I'm going to read them off my list because it makes life easier. So we got Tom Stoltman, Hathor Bjornsson, Mitchell Hooper, Rayno Nell, Lucas Hatton, Paddy Haynes, Tom Evans, Trey Mitchell, Austin Andrade, and then we have Bryce Johnson, who is new to the show because Evan Singleton has had to pull out because he got an injury at the Battle of the Beast competition, which is a shame because I thought Evan looked in good shape and I really wanted to see what package he brought to this show. Bryce is a good replacement. He's been looking really good recently and we'll see what he can do.
Do you like free stuff? Do you want to begin with a chance of winning £100? Well, let me tell you, it's never been easier. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, and when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we are going to be doing a giveaway to one lucky subscriber to win something. We don't know what yet, but something worth £100. So make sure you subscribe today so you do not miss out. On with the video.
Event number 1 then is the 18-inch max axle deadlift, and I think that this event is actually going to be closer than people expect it to be. With it being 18 inches, I do think it levels the playing field somewhat. I still believe that Thor's going to take the win. Don't get me wrong. I still think any type of deadlift that you chuck at them, Thor's going to take the win. But I don't think he's so far ahead in terms of the 18-inch max deadlift as he is with a regular deadlift. The only deadlift that I don't think Thor would win is the trap bar deadlift because it's much more of a squat. He's a strong squatter, don't get me wrong, but when I watched the trap bar, I don't think anyone was going to beat Evan Singleton, to be honest. Now, we had a very similar event at Wales this year, and a lot of this lineup was in that competition and taking part in this event. Trey won out of this lineup. I think he won the whole event, actually. We had Rayno Nell come in second, and then we had Tom Stoltman, Mitchell Hooper, and Paddy Haynes all tied for 3rd place. Now, I think this sort of deadlift will suit the likes of Lucas Hatton and Austin Andrade, just given their builds, given their strengths. Don't get me wrong, Austin's a very good deadlifter from any height, but I do feel that this height will be even better for him. And Lucas himself has said that this is the best height for him to do. Bryce and Tom Evans are 2 tricky little customers when it comes to predicting how they're going to do on this. I'm not really seeing them do it. Tom Evans is a good deadlifter. He's done the Hummer tire before. Bryce is a good deadlifter. He did quite well on the trap bar. And did he pull 1,000? I feel like he pulled 1,000 pounds of the Giants Live. It might have been 440, but it was around there. And Tom Evans came 3rd on the trap bar deadlift at the Strongest Man on Earth as well. So again, good power. I expect them to do well. I would say anybody on this event who is able to get 490 kilos or above, around 1,100 pounds, is going to get very good points. I don't think the numbers are going to be as astronomical as maybe some people expect. It's an axle bar, which makes it more difficult. Yes, it's 18-inch, but I don't think an 18-inch deadlift makes it that much easier. I think a silver dollar deadlift or a Hummer tire makes it a lot easier because the whip of the bar, you can get it straight over the knees. But with it being an axle, most of them, I'd assume all of them, are still going to be under the knees. So it's going to be easier. There's going to be heavier lifts throughout, but I don't think we're going to be looking close to 550 or anything over that. So my top 3, I think Thor will pull around 510 to 520, whatever he needs for the win. I've got Trey Mitchell coming in 2nd, and then I'm going with Tom Evans, Lucas Hatton, and Rayno Nell, all tied for 3rd place. Event 2 is the Viking press, and this seems to somewhat be back in fashion, which I'm a huge fan of. The thing about the Viking press that I like is I think it's a true test of shoulder strength instead of who can manipulate the weight the most. And don't get me wrong, I am a fan of a split jerk and a push jerk, any sort of movement like that. I'm a fan of it. I'm not one of these that thinks, oh, if you strict press it, it's better than if you split jerk it. The whole goal of strongman is you get the weight from A to B, the easiest way possible. If you have a technique that is more advantageous to the lift, that just means you're a better strongman. Look, some of you big belly guys might not like that, but it's straight up facts, and I'm not changing my opinion. Let me know your opinion on that in the comments down below, because I'll be interested to see. I might run a poll actually on YouTube, see what people think. I'm trying not to look too much into the previous results on Viking presses, because Viking presses can change so much from show to show, and it's difficult to find a show where they all did it against each other. I know in 2024 in the heats, a lot of these guys all did it against each other. So I will pull some stuff from that. I will pull a little bit from Giants Live, but for the most part, I'm just going to go, I'm going off vibes, I'm going off feel. I'd say the top three, you're probably looking at Tom Evans, Lucas Hatton, Trey Mitchell. I think Bryce could get in the mix. I've seen him at the Giants Live and he was really good. I actually said before the Giants Live that I expected Bryce to do really well on the Viking press. The reason I said that is because at the Strongest Man on Earth, when they were doing the log press, his pressing power was extremely good. It was just the ability to have the stability to lock it out at the top. He would get it right to arm's length, but just there, couldn't lock it out. Obviously, a Viking press, fixed machine, not got to worry about that as much, power straight through it, and he's not going to worry about wobbling about. And I was right, so I'm bringing it up again because I was right, and I like when I'm right because it doesn't happen that often. Speaking of the Giants Live, in that show, Paddy, Austin, and Thor all tied with 10 reps. Now, Austin did look injured, and I believe he pulled out after this, so I don't think that's a true representation of where his Viking press is at. Obviously, Thor's done the world record deadlift, but for Paddy Haynes to match those two, even if Austin is a little bit injured, even if Thor has done the max deadlift, Paddy's still pulled a PB deadlift. He's still done all the other events beforehand as well. For him to match Thor on that, I think was really impressive, because Thor, before the pec tab, wasn't a bad presser. He impressed a lot of pressing in there. He impressed a lot of people last year on the circus medley at the Rogue Invitational, at this competition. I think his pressing's actually underrated. And given the fact that he's probably going to win the deadlift, he will come out last on this. So he will know exactly what he needs to do to get decent points. I don't think he's going to be up there. I don't think Thor or Paddy will be up there with the top guys. But for someone like Thor, who will most likely come out last on this event, he will know, okay, I need to get 10 reps, for example, and that gets me 5 points. 5 points is better than 2 points. He might only need that one more rep. If, for example, 10 reps equals 5 points, 13 equals 6, he's going to do 11 because he doesn't think he can get 14, for example. That's the advantage you have coming out later. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know the advantage, so I don't know why I'm trying to explain it to you, but you see where I'm going. Now, again, I'm just going to say that Austin does have really good pressing power, but at the 2024 World's Strongest Man, he didn't have a great result on the Viking press either. I'm hoping he has a better result than he has before. Somebody else whose pressing power is extremely underrated is Tom Stoltman. He actually has one of the best presses in this show, behind the likes of Lucas and Trey. Tom Stoltman is right up there, so I'd expect him to be challenging for the top 3 as well. However, I'm going to go Tom Evans wins the Viking press, Lucas Hatton in second, Trey Mitchell in third. Then I see Tom Stoltman, Mitchell Hooper, and Bryce Johnson all battling it out for that 4th spot. I do actually, I'm not doing the top 10, but I have Austin slightly behind those 3s in my prediction, so probably taking 7th. And then behind them, I've got Rain O'Neill, Paddy, and Thor, all battling for 8th, 9th, and 10th on the event. I mean, I said I'm not doing a top 10 for that event, but there's a top 10. The third event of the show is the yoke escalator. So it's yoke into power stairs. And I believe this year is going to be heavier. Last year it was like 409, just shy of 410 kilos for the yoke. But looking at people's training, Mitch Hooper was up close to 500. And Trey Mitchell didn't put a weight on his, but he wasn't moving very fast with it. So I'm hoping it's going to be somewhere around the 480 to 500 kilo for the yoke. The power stairs, they'll stay the same. I would assume anyway, 4 steps, 3 implements, 500 pounds, 550 pounds, 600 pounds. What on earth is that in kilos? I don't know, but it's pretty goddamn heavy. This is where I finally speak about Mitchell Hooper, well, in any sort of length. I don't see anybody else winning this event. Last year, Mitch won it. Evan Singleton was in second, and I just think Mitch is so far ahead of everybody when it comes to yoke that he'll have a big enough lead going into the power stairs. Now, I'm not really going to give a top 3 on this because it's such a difficult event to give a top 3. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to talk about where I see the overall standings being at the end of day 1. I see it being extremely tight at the end of day 1 because the likes of Lucas and Trey have 2 really good events. So they've got the 18-inch max deadlift, which will be a very good event for both of them. And then they have the Viking press, which will be a very good event for both of them. I think the yoke escalator, I think Lucas could do really well. I think Trey could do really well. With it being heavier, I think it will, well, with my assumptions that it's going to be heavier, I think that does benefit them because it won't be as much of a sprint on the yoke. And when it's heavier, they will probably do better than certain athletes. but I still see them coming mid-pack on that. So 2 good events, 1 okay event. Then again, similar to those, Thor has 2 events. I think the yoke escalator, he could come second. I expect him to win the first event, being the max 18-inch deadlift. I expect him to be the bottom half of the pack on the Viking press. If Tom Stoltman is in good form, then he could get a top 3 on every event, to be fair. He could get a top 3 on every single event. If Tom Stoltman's in good form, his 18-inch deadlift is really good, his press and power is really good, and his yoke isn't the best, but his power stairs is phenomenal, and he will have enough speed on something like that. So he could potentially be top 3 on every single event, putting him into the top 3 overall going into day 2. I'd say for both Mitch and Tom that although I haven't spoke about them being in the top 3 all that often on these events, that I don't see them really being lower than 5th on any of these 3 events. Whereas your Thor, I could see being 7th, 8th on the Viking press. Your Lucas and your Trey, I could see being 7th, 8th on the yoke escalator. So the person who I actually have in the lead after day 1 is Tom Evans. I just don't think out of the entire lineup, I think he has the least amount of weaknesses. He might not be the best at any event. His yoke is pretty solid. Power stairs is pretty solid. His Viking press is maybe the best out of everybody in this lineup. At least, if he's not top 3 on the Viking press, I'll be extremely surprised. And the 18-inch max deadlift, again, I see him getting into the top 3, if maybe 4th. I could see him getting a 4th, a 1st, and then another 4th, which I think will put him in a 2, maybe 3-point lead going into day 2. The reality is that this show is so difficult to predict because Evan Singleton is now out of the show, but Bryce Johnson is a great replacement. Lucas Hatton, Trey Mitchell, Austin Andrade, all similar sort of guys. I tend to put those sort of together. They have really good events in the show, but they also have some events which aren't their best. Similar to the likes of your Tom Stoltman and your Hathor Bjornssons. It might come down to the fact that somebody like Tom Evans is just more consistent on every single event. We don't know what kind of form Mitch is in. If Mitch is in the form that he was in last year, where no matter what, he's going to place top 3 on every event, then Mitch is going to take the win. But has he had enough time off to recover? Is he fully recovered? Is he coming in top shape? I think the other guys have brought their level up, and I don't think Mitch's level has increased. So if anything, it might have decreased. It's really difficult to call. I'm doing my best. We're going to move on to day 2. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you think this is easy to predict, then well done to you, because it's not. It's really not. Okay, event number 4 is the overhead medley, the circus medley. Last year we had 4 implements, which was the kettlebell, the dumbbell, 1 axle, and then another axle. This year it's just 3 implements. We got the kettlebell, the dumbbell, and then an axle for reps, which I think I prefer. I prefer the axle for reps. I'm assuming it's going to be a 90-second time limit, and I would guess that the kettlebell and dumbbell will be exactly the same weight, so 95 kilo and 115 kilo. Last year, I think a lot of people expected them to be like a buy-in, essentially, just to pre-exhaust you. That is the word I'm looking for. It's to pre-exhaust you going into the axle. Last year, we had the axles at 170 and 180, so my guess is that they will just use 170, because people's training has been quite heavy. Tom Stoltman has hit a 180 single. I think Mitchell Hooper's doing like 165 out the rack for reps. I've seen Lucas Hatton doing something like 190, 420 pounds, so about 190 for like 8 reps, push press out the rack. I don't know if he's doing that for the Viking press or whether he's doing that for the axle for reps. Ridiculous set. He said in the caption that he doesn't know if anybody's ever done a better push press set. And if they have, I will be shocked, because that was absolutely incredible. And it didn't even look, it looked hard, but I think he had like 2 reps in reserve. I know they're going to be using split times on this as well. So if you get the kettlebell and the dumbbell and 1 rep on the axle faster than somebody else, then you're going to get the better placing than them, essentially. I do have a winner for this, and it's probably not everybody's first pick for a winner. That is Mr. Tom Stoltman. I think the likes of Lucas, Trey, Austin are arguably better pressers, but if you've ever watched Tom Stoltman clean an axle, it's absolutely ridiculous. The ease that he does it with is just wild, and I don't think anybody else, maybe Thor, just because of that size and brute strength, can do it as easy, but Thor's pressing and mobility isn't as good as Tom's. I think Tom Stoltman wins this event, and I think 4 to 5 reps on the axle is going to win it, assuming it's anywhere from 90-second to 120-second time limit, so 1.5 to 2 minute time limit. I think Tom Stoltman can pull it out the bag, especially if he does as well as I've predicted in day one. I think after day one, he's going to be sitting around 4th or 5th, but maybe 5-6 points off the top. And he will believe that with the events on day 2, which are good events for him, very good events for him, he will believe that he can claw those points back. I'm going to give a top 3 for this one. I know I didn't on the yoke escalator, but that was just too difficult to call. So I'm going to go for Tom Stoltman. Then I'm going to go Mitchell Hooper, who again, I didn't really mention, but I think he can pull it out of the bag. And then I have got Lucas Hatton in 3rd. Sorry, I did have to look because I forgot, but I've got Lucas Hatton coming in 3rd. The clean might be difficult, but he's just got the pressing power there. I think he's going to do, his kettlebell will be good, his dumbbell's really good. I think he's going to do really well on the axle as well. Somebody that actually could do quite well is Paddy Haynes. Might sound stupid with his pressing not being as good as everybody else's, but there is a potential that 4, 5 people only manage 1 rep on the axle. If we look at last year, I think it was only Luke Stoltman and Mitchell Hooper who finished the whole run, which was 170 axle into a 185 axle. So maybe people could have done 2 on the 170, but a lot of people didn't even get the 170 axle. So let's assume that there's 5 people, including Paddy, that get 1 rep on each implement. Paddy will be quick on something like the kettlebell and the dumbbell, and he should be pretty explosive and quick on the axle as well. So a good time might put him like mid-pack, and that would be a really good result for Paddy. I'm not saying that it will happen. There's also the huge potential that he comes last on this event with his pressing power not being as good as everybody else's. It just isn't. And let me be clear, his pressing power is world class. Like, to be able to press 170, 180 on a log is ridiculous. But in the modern day of strongman, it's just not up there. Unfortunately, it's just not good enough. And it's getting better. And I think when he gets it up to a point, because I think in his time in strongman, he's going to press like a 200 log. I genuinely believe he has the ability to do that. When it's up there, he's a problem. He is a real problem. The penultimate event is the power drive. And this year they have sacked off the sack, which I must say I'm happy about. I didn't like it last year with the Husafell bag is a good idea, but having to put it in that tiny little square just didn't make any sense to me. And I think the hay bale push into the arm over arm is enough for the event anyway. For me, there's only going to be one winner here, and that is Hathor Bjornsson. I do actually think Tom Stoltman beat him last year, but I just think Thor's arm over arm and, I mean, even that power drive part, I think Thor's going to beat him. Someone like Paddy, again, being able to put in a good performance here, he's just got that athletic ability. He might not have the body weight to push the hay bale as much, but if he's learnt from last year and he's got the technique dialed in, I think he's going to be all right. And I'm pretty sure he lives on a farm, so maybe he's got a hay bale somewhere that he can practice on. If you haven't seen Trey Mitchell with the loadable hay bale on his Instagram, go check it out because it's just the most Trey Mitchell thing you'll ever see. I think Tom Evans, again, will do much better on this event than he did last time around. I was extremely impressed with him at the Shore Classic. I think at that show, he showed everybody what he's capable of, which I think he showed it a while ago, maybe like a year or like 2 years ago, and then he sort of went off the radar. You know, he was coming like 5th. He was doing really well in these big shows. I think at the Shore Classic, the strongest man on earth, he reminded everybody how good he is. And if he can bring that form into this show, he's going to be a real problem. He's going to be a real threat to take the title. That is somebody that I would not write off winning this show. He might not be the most sexy name in there. You might think of a Mitch or a Thor, or a Tom Stoltman, Lucas Hatton. Tom Evans goes about his business. Very good strongman, could win this show. Again, Tom Stoltman, I see him doing really well on this event. Like I've already said, I'm pretty sure he won it last year. So it all depends where he is in terms of the overall standings, in my opinion anyway. I know, to be fair to him, he fought all the way to the end of the strongest man on earth, even with the injury, even when he knew that the podium was out of reach. So I've got to, you know, take my hats off to him for that, because, take my hats off, I've not got 2 hats on. Take my hat off to him for that, because like, in the past, he's been known for, if it's not going his way, sort of just checking out of the competition. But he fought to the very end, put on a show for everybody, and yeah, really well done. But if you're in a position to win, you're going to find that extra 1 to 2%. My outside shot for the top 3 on this is the likes of Rain O'Neill and Bryce Johnson. Reino Nell is extremely fast. His arm over arm is very good. We saw that at the World's Strongest Man this year. Well, didn't see it if you're in the UK because we have to wait till Christmas. And then Bryce Johnson is my other outside shot for the top 3 on this event. I might have already said that, but he's got the size, he's got the strength, brute power, arm over arm, very good. I think he could get top 3 on this. Talking of top 3 then, I'm going to go for Hathor Bjornsson taking the win, as I've already said. Tom Stoltman in second place, and then Bryce Johnson because why not? I like him. His Instagram, he's doing a lot of reels at the moment. I think they're quite funny. I think Bryce has realised what a lot of others haven't realised is that if you want to be big in this sport, you want to monetize this sport, you have to post on social media a lot. There's a lot of athletes that don't post enough on social media, but Bryce has seen that and he's going, you know what? I've got the ability to be a good strongman. I could be one of the best in the world. And I do believe he could be one of the best in the world. Just looking at him as a person, another year, Bryce Johnson is right up there. He's realised that social media plays a massive part for getting sponsorships, for getting fans, for bringing new people into the sport, for getting invites to the show. So well done, Bryce Johnson. Hopefully you're watching this. Share it on your social media, bro. Anyway, final event then is the Mons Meg... What are they? The Mons Meg Stones. It's at the Stones. The build for it looks really good. It was on Matt Rhodes' story. If you don't follow Matt Rhodes, make sure you do. He posts... I know a lot of people probably don't like him. A lot of people probably love him. I don't really care at the end of the day. I watch Big Loz. I watch Matt Rhodes. I watch all of them because I like strongman. I like turtles. No, I like strongman, okay? Final event. It's essentially Atlas Stones. I'm unsure on the weight. I'm going to guess they're going to be Atlas Stones, but maybe more like a natural stone, sort of Atlas Stone. Tacky towel, no tacky. That's how they tend to do it at the Rogue. I could be wrong, but they're going to load it. I'm fairly certain you have to walk them in. My assumption is that it's going to be like a World's Strongest Man, where it starts, say, 2 meters away, goes to 1.6, 1.2, 0.8, 0.4 meters, whatever. 5 stones, walk it in, fastest time wins. That's my assumption. And listen, let's not mess about. Let's not fucking mess about with this one. Top 3, Hathor Bjornsson, Tom Stoltman, Paddy Haynes. This is going to be great if both Thor and Tom are right up there battling and they get to go against each other. They won't go head to head. Fuck me. They won't go head to head because I don't think it's going to be a head to head event. But we'll get to see them both going full out. And I think Thor will beat Tom Stoltman on this. I think if it was a tacky involved stone run, I think Tom could beat him. But Thor and stones is just absolutely ridiculous. The way he did the natural stones over the plinth last year was just wild. Or was it? No, it was onto the barrel, wasn't it? But either way, it was ridiculous. So that's going to be my top 3 on that event, barring any injury, which leaves me with only one thing to do, and that is to give you my overall top 3. Now, look, I've already said in this video, it's difficult to predict it. It's difficult to predict each event. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'm not really going to base my top 3 overall from my top 3 for each event. I'm obviously going to pull from that slightly, but the issue is, if I predict Lucas Hatton to win the Viking Press, which I didn't, I predicted Tom Evans to win the Viking Press. If I predict Tom Evans to win the Viking Press and then he comes 3rd, that's 2 points dropped. If I predict Tom Evans to come 3rd on the max 18 inch and then he comes 5th, that's 2 points dropped. So trying to go back and work through all of the points and put them all in like 1st to 10th position, it's almost impossible. It's better to look at it as a whole, look who's probably got the best events and can be most consistent. Also, who is like doing well at the moment. It's just got vibes more than anything. Got vibes, man. So I'm just going to give you my top 3 based off absolute vibes. In 3rd place, I'm going to go for the Moose, Mitchell Hooper. Now, I think he's going to be consistent enough to get back onto the podium. Obviously, he's only missed 2 podiums throughout his entire strongman career. So I think placing him on the podium is a safer bet than most. I don't think he's going to quite be at the level that he was before just yet. I think at the Arnolds, he will be, and he could prove me wrong. I hope he does, because I want to see Mitchell Hooper back at his best, but I'm going to place him in 3rd position. In 2nd place, I'm going for Hathor Julius Bjornsson. He's got 3 events which I believe he can win in the max 18-inch deadlift, the power drive, and the Mons Meg Stones. And if he can do damage control on on 2 pressing events, the power stairs, yoke into power stairs isn't a bad event at all. If he can do pretty good damage control, I don't see him being off the podium. But my winner, and taking his first major title, is Lucas Hatton, who doesn't have a nickname yet. What they need to, listen, anybody watching this who might be able to get in contact with Lucas, stop trying to find a nickname that goes in the middle of your name. Just give yourself a nickname. Tom Stoltman is the Albatross. Luke Stoltman is the Highland Oak. They're not Tom the Albatross Stoltman. Evan is the T-Rex, Evan Singleton. Don't be Lucas Large Legs Hatton. Just give yourself a nickname. Do whatever you want. But anyway, Lucas Hatton's going to take his first major win. I think he's due one. I think he's been very, very good. He's constantly improving. These events are good for him. I think he's got what it takes. He's going to take the win. So, to recap, Lucas Hatton wins, Hathor Bjornsson second, Mitchell Hooper in third, and I'm probably completely wrong. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Thank you for watching to this point of the video. I know it's been a long one, but hopefully it's been an enjoyable one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share it to all your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.